Yo, welcome to another reading. So today we've got a reading on change. I've got some good news and some bad news. Uh, I've recorded this before and my battery died. So I was just talking away to myself and not recording anything. So the good news is that the drawings are pre-drawn. The bad news is you kind of missed the juiciness of the first reading. So another part of the good news actually is that I can give you a little bit of insight, maybe better than I'm usually able to, because the drawings are pre-drawn. So one of the little tips or teasers I'm going to give for you today in the reading is we've got one masculine energy and two feminine energies. So I want you to pause first on kind of what energy you're relating to more. And this is going to be a nice little test of your intuition. The masculine energy here has probably got a bit more of a harder challenge because it's 1 out of 3. But I want you to test yourself. I want you to pause on the energy and kind of feel out which energy you're relating more to and see if you kind of hit that energy. So in no particular order of the masculine and feminine energies, I'll say pole number 1, pole number 2 and pole number 3. As you see me pointing my finger today because there's no pen. Okay, we'll start with pole number 1s. Okay, pole number 1s. Check that we're in center still. So yeah, this is the drawing for pole number 1s. So if you kind of were connecting to the masculine energy, this is your reading. Have a little pause on it. What do you see? What do you feel? Like some of the key points, I'll kind of bring my pen back just to point. So I was drawing into this detail here, which reminds me of like Kundalini energy. You might relate to that. This is like a spiral relating to the heart. And there was some backdrop here, which reminded me of like sun energy. So, I think this reading here, we're talking a lot about stepping into your power. This reading reminds me of someone who's like glowing. Like if you hadn't seen someone in a long time, I don't think I've heard any of my friends ever say it. Maybe like women use it more, but like, they would say that person's glowing. Pole number 1's you're glowing. Now, it doesn't matter what gender you are. You might be a female watching this. But we're kind of talking about your masculine energy, and always remember with these readings, we could be talking about like your counterpart. If you like your partner, if you believe in twin flames and stuff like that, this is like your mirror, your masculine mirror. But in kind of physical, down to earth lingo, this literally just might be your partner. So you might have clicked onto this reading and we're talking about your other half. So anyways, I feel like this energy, they've kind of been through something, some form of like, this could be even like, to ground it even further, this might even be someone who's like had a promotion recently. If they're not working in a job, they're an entrepreneur who's just done well in their business. It's like that energy of stepping into their power. I feel also like this energy, they've unlocked kind of their heart chakra. Now, you know, like it's funny because when I say that out loud, you know, like I was getting the energy also of like someone who might have accidentally unlocked their heart chakra, or like at least their heart energy. You know, like I was getting a little bit of help from spirit there to help explain it. Um, I'm not saying this is always the case. I can definitely relate to this personally and say this has happened to me sometimes, or at least in certain parts of my life. But you know, like the masculine energy, and you could even go as far as saying it, like men in general, sometimes we pride ourselves with logic for the wrong reasons. Now, as men, I don't think we would ever really admit to this, but you know, here's me on, if you pause, admitting to it. Sometimes we pride ourselves with logic or our thinking or our mind is because sometimes that heart, that intuition has been broken, or a better way of putting it is maybe not, like broken's pretty harsh, isn't it? But I'm trying to think of the word which kind of summarizes losing trust in something, you know? So what can happen with men a lot of the times? So any of my geezers listening to this, you might have some friends, and you know, like when they've trusted their gut, they've trusted their heart, and it's just gone wrong for them, and they were never the same again. They always kind of think logically or pessimistically about a situation. That doesn't have to be about love, by the way. That could be about a business decision, that could be about a friendship, that could be about anything. But something that's kind of shattered their shattered their belief to trust their heart or their intuition or their gut, whatever terminology you prefer. So the tricky thing about this is that you have to know it to you have to recognize it in oneself in order to heal it. And I know I'm maybe kind of beating around the bush here, but what I'm trying to get at is that I feel like for my pole number ones, you might have unlocked it accidentally. So this would be the example of like, okay, so I'm going into entrepreneur mode. You need a new position in your staff. You need a new member of staff to do something, and you've got 5 candidates lined up. 3 of those candidates don't have the credentials. There's 1 candidate that really has the credentials lined up perfectly. And then there's this other person who's maybe slightly underqualified, but they've got something about them. You might be able to see where I'm going with this. But it's a fucking good example. So you feel in your gut that you should go for this person they've just got something about them. They're a little bit underqualified, but they've just got something about them. I don't know, maybe they're really passionate about your business. And your logical side is obviously this person here on your left who's really qualified. They seem to be ticking the box to take this position. But you trust your gut, you trust your heart, you trust your intuition, and you go for the person who's slightly underqualified, and they just completely hit the home run in your business. Like, they just click and they just over deliver. That's kind of what I mean by you accidentally healed your heart, because it's like you were able to get some And I know it sounds kind of logical again, but like you were able to get like a positive outcome from trusting your heart, and that healed it. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily the correct, probably not the right spiritual way of healing your heart chakra. But, you know, the job was done. Now, obviously, that metaphor isn't going to apply to everyone who's watching this. You've got to make that apply to however you seem fit. That might have been going with your heart with a love relationship recently. That might have been like, you know, giving that person a chance who DM'd you and becoming like your best friend. It might be picking up a new hobby that you didn't think that you would be into, you know. Maybe it was something that you was a bit embarrassed to do, or, you know, didn't, you know, didn't think it aligned with yourself, but then you tried it because you listened to your heart and it really kind of followed through. The outcome of this pole number ones is all the things that I said at the start. You know, you stepping into that has just made you like explode. It's made you glow. It's unlocked all these things in you. So again, like, don't get too tied up to gender here with this reading. It either resonated or it didn't. Feel it out and see, you know, like, is there any kind of truth to that in my story, in my lifestyle at the moment? And just remember as well, these readings are they're not limited to time. So this might be around the corner for you. This might be something that you're stepping into. You know, it might not be at your doorstep yet. It might be a choice that you're about to make, and Spirit's kind of just giving you the heads up for that. So pile number ones, look, I hope that reading was helpful. Hope you got something from it, plucked some wisdom. Generally a pretty positive reading actually, so keep glowing, keep doing your thing. I'll see you in the next reading. Okay, pile number twos. Bit weird, isn't it, not like drawing away. I still got my pen, so I can kind of point at what's going on here. Okay, so pile number twos, we've got the feminine energy here. This one was like, I remember laughing a lot. Maybe that's why kind of God just like removed that video so you didn't hear it, pile number twos, because it was probably just like half an hour of me laughing. But why I was laughing so much in this reading is because this person was like literally starting to dance in the reading, like as I was drawing it. Like, it's like there was a little bit of a hip shaking going on, and I found it quite funny. Even the hands kind of jiggling around like the jazz hands. So you might be dancers, you might be some form of performer, but this could also just be someone who's like, kind of like picked up a new hobby. Like, this reminds me a lot of like, if you're not like a dancer, it might be that you've just started like dance classes. It just really reminds me of like the mum picking up the new like dance class. Like, they've picked up salsa, or they've picked up like, I don't know, hip hop class dancing, or Zumba. I know that's not really a thing anymore, but I remember Zumba was like a big thing a few years ago. But it's that kind of thing, do you know what I mean? I can imagine someone picking up a new class here of something and really enjoying it. Now, if you're a geezer watching this, same goes to you. You know, you might have picked up a little bit of salsa. Is it salsa? What do the girls like? I think it's salsa. You might have picked up something like that, and you're kind of enjoying that. That's part of your recent change that you've come into. And I guess if it's not something that you've newly started to do, like you've maybe got like a new spin on it, like it could even be that you're maybe for some of you you're quitting it actually. I've got quit coming through, but it might be that it's quitting or quicker, like quicker. You're becoming quicker at it. Like you're upgrading. You've gone from beginner to intermediate to advanced. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's part of your change. So I know that was a kind of a big introduction, but funnily enough, that was a big part of the reading. Now, um, you got these kind of three shapes in the middle of this character. This to me was talking about joints. So this reading is something to do with your joints. Now I don't want to scare anyone, but another key part of the reading was that like I felt like this person was they had a spring in their step. Like that was definitely a key phrase, and I felt like this person had been recently injured or ill, you know. So like it reminds me of someone who's almost been like a little bit, if not bedrid, like someone who's been like, like the word knocked out came to me as well. Like I'm not trying to jinx anyone with this. I'm just being as kind of honest as I can with the reading. It reminds me of someone who's even like, like falling down a step and like sprain their wrist or something like that. Whatever the case is, like I said, I'm doing my very best not to jinx anyone, but whatever the case is, it's like it had you down and out for a little bit, and now you're you're on the other side. So for some of you, like that joint, I'm getting kind of a joint like, your joints, but it could also be like depression or like you could have had like a loss. That would also explain this energy. If someone's grieving, completely understandable. That can knock us down sometimes. But I feel like for the majority of you, this reading really is about kind of springing back. Now, this pattern underneath here, this reminded me of like the Jewish candles. It's not the first time that's kind of come through in these readings. So you might actually be Jewish. You might relate to the Jewish religion or Jewish culture. But if you're a commoner like me, it was actually reminding me a lot of having a fire up your ass, or at least a fire up your bum if you're not as crude as me. So again, it just plays into the energy of this person they've got the fire in them, they're ready to go. So have a little pause on that pile number to see what that means to you. It's really quite a little bit of confirmation. It's quite multi-dimensional too. What I was also just seeing as I paused on it was like it's half of a globe. It's half of the globe, isn't it? Like if you continued that, if you mirrored that, it would be a globe. So the final thing, well, actually there's two other things, but I'll try and scoot through these because the reading is getting quite long. Actually, it was meant to be quite a short one for you. This ring was really giving me like Saturn energy. So you might be Capricorns, or you might just be like embracing some form of like Saturn energy. If you're not into astrology, there's a few things that you can unpick from that. Like you might have gone through Saturn return recently. I can't think of what's the ruled, what Saturn is the rule of. I think it's, like I said, Capricorn. Not sure if there's any other signs in there, but kind of just pause on that. Like, what does Saturn mean to you? I think like that ring is quite important as well, isn't it? It's like there's something quite continuous about the Saturn energy, like the ring. It's like the loop energy. The loop actually reminds me of this person. It's like they're almost doing a loop. Like, I'm not sure if you guys know what I mean by that, but you know, someone who uses the loop for an exercise, you know, like because they're actually moving this person. So again, like that really reminds me of someone who's like releasing joints and relaxing like certain muscles within them and stuff, you know. It's like there's something going on here with like the movement. You might be into like somatics and stuff like that too, somatic dance, somatic healing. So the final thing is like this was the feminine energy, right? So if you listen to the introduction, I said to give it a little pause and see if you tap into the right energy. So this was meant to like represent like a bun when I was drawing it, but it also reminded me of like a thinking bubble. So I don't know, pile number two is you may be or may have been in some form of like reflection or thinking mode. That might have been part of that new chapter that you're going into, or at least something to do with the mind, you know, maybe a mindset change. So part number two is beautiful reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I guess that was the good thing about that the losing of that video is that I was able to kind of just almost summarize these readings. So like I said, I hope you was able to pluck some wisdom, at least get some confirmations from the reading. As always, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Check out If You Pause website, ifyoupause.com, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Okay, pile number three is... Okay, so pile number three is, if you listen to the introduction, this drawing just about fit on the page. But if you were touching in with the feminine energy, you hit the nail on the head. You know, this reading was, I think this reading out of all of them maybe surprised me the most. I'm going to give you, I'll give it to you straight actually, pile threes. So why this reading surprised me the most is because this was an absolute, what's the word? Is the word like epitome? This energy was the absolute epitome of manifesting through believing, you know? Manifesting through believing. So, you know, I think we can all learn from believing in ourselves and kind of putting our mindsets in good rituals and good energies in order to get the things we want. But I don't know, like this energy really shocked me because it was like this energy was completely in that energy. I don't know, I guess you could say that this was, I don't know, maybe it could be like young Empress energy. Like now that I think about it, this could be like, you know, this could be like young Empress energy. You know, if you're the masculine to this, you see, it doesn't work the other way around, like, because it's not young Emperor energy, but it's using, like, so if you're a man watching this, it's like you're using that young Empress energy to get the thing you want. And I only say that, you know, I know you've got to be careful with genders and masculinity and femininity these days, but if I was to say the young emperor energy, I'd say this person would be working his ass off. Do you know what I mean? I think the emperor energy is more like the warrior goes to battle and then he matures, he gets a bit of grey in his beard, and then he sits on the throne. Do you know what I mean? It's not this energy. Now, pile number three is, I'm not saying that you haven't been through anything. This is not someone who is doing nothing. It's like a lot of it's a lot of internal work, you know. Pay attention to the way that this character is on the tiptoes. It's kind of got that Persephone energy as well. Not the first time that that energy has come into the reading. Um, for some of you, this might remind you of like the Superman symbol or the Supergirl symbol. I don't know if there's a Superwoman, but there's definitely a Supergirl. Um, this actually wasn't what the energy was giving me. It was actually giving me alchemy. So for some of you, you're going to know what alchemy symbol that is. I've got no idea. But you might just want to type in alchemy into Google and do images. And you're going to see these triangles in different positions. And that's going to tell you what this element is embracing. I've got no idea, so I can't tell you. If I was to be honest, like this, in terms of like color palette, this was like varying between like light pinks and blues. So this is giving me like you're either in like your princess era, like I'm gonna give it 3 actually. I'm getting 3 vibes. So the princess era, I'm getting like funnily enough, I'm getting like darker hair. Could maybe be blonde as well, but darker hair. And I'm getting pinks, like in terms of colour. I'm seeing almost like loads of daisies around the ground. Seeing daisies. And then I'm getting like Freya vibes, which is like probably like the Persephone energy, which I'm getting coming through, which is more like ginger. Now, she's almost like tiptoeing through the forest. No daisies, but everything's green, everything's lush. Maybe some beautiful pine trees and, I don't know, some ivy, some, stuff like that sprinkled around her. And then I'm getting the third, which is like, what was the third now? Oh, yeah, so the third was like watery. So it's like this person has almost come out of the water from being a mermaid. Do you know what I mean? Like legs for the first time. Now it's not Ariel type mermaid, but it's like these are really like light blues. These are not like Scorpio deep dark blues. These are like light blues again. So look, this may not have been your reading, but for whoever I'm speaking to, this energy is really light. This is the type of energy which like is kind, it's caring, it's like, to be honest, it's the type of energy that needs to be like protected. Do you know what I mean? So again, I don't want people to take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to say that anyone is like fragile here and they can't look after themselves. I'm just trying to say that the beauty of this energy is in the delicacy, you know? There's a lot of things happening here which are like internal. It's like the beautiful flower, you know? And like don't get it twisted, guys. Like us guys, we can be flowers too, like there's a time and a place, but like it's like the man who romances. Do you know what I mean? Girls love rose petals on the floor. That's the man's gentle side. That's he's pouring out his flowers. Do you know what I mean? It's gentle, it's kind, it's softer. But generally, this is someone who's like really, really in that energy. This is not like the man doing the once a month, once a year, once a 5 years romantic night. Do you know what I mean? This is someone who's embodying that energy. So look, another thing that's interesting about this reading, actually, if you pay attention to this is almost like a flower blooming. Like it's kind of going up. It's kind of, I don't know. Like for me, that's what that energy is doing. It's kind of going up. It's radiating up. And even if you look at that symbol, That symbol is up. It's the triangle kind of going up. I was just going to say, to finish this reading, I feel like the person who I'm talking to, part of the key to your manifestation that Spirit is trying to remind you of, probably so you can do it again, pile number threes, is you've been able to unlock your past and your future. And I originally thought when I was drawing this, is this the energy expanding outwards? But as I've just said clearly, it's actually going up and out. This was reminding me of like literally on when you scroll something on a screen. It's like the old you and then the future you and then you in the present. So I feel like for my pile number three is like the biggest takeaway to take away from this, and it might have been your blind spot. So this reading is just reminding you of it, is that there's something in you that you've unlocked where you haven't just done the inner work on yourself now, you've done the inner work of yourself in the past, and somehow you've even done the inner work of your future self. So I was just getting a download there for people who might have got lost of how do you do your inner work of your future self. I was getting the like the reference of we decide who we want to be. So yeah, I think that's even like a pause moment in itself. We do decide who we want to be. So I think my pile number three is that's something that you've also done the work for, is deciding who you're gonna be, who you want to be. You know, you're not just letting that fall to fate. Now that's funny because that, you know, when I say that out loud, that's very much masculine energy, I think. But that's something that you've embraced, maybe like delicately, you know. So pile number three is beautiful reading. I hope you were able to pick up what I was dropping there. You know, obviously I mean no offense to people when I'm talking. You know, I can't say that I'm not educated because I am, but you know, a bit rough around the edges. If you enjoyed the reading, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Check out the If You Pause website, ifyoupause.com, and I'll see you in the next reading. Take care.